No eggs? Thousand Thunders, man, what do you mean by no eggs?
Sir, it is not my fault. It is the act of God.
Blasphemy, you tell me there are no eggs and you blame your maker for it.
Sir, what can I do? I cannot lay eggs.
Ha, you jest about it.
No, sir, God knows. We all have to go without eggs just as you have, sir. The hens will not lay.
Indeed. Now listen to me, you.
Yes, sir?
What am I?
What are you, sir?
Yes, what am I? Am I Robert, Squire of Badgecourt and captain of this castle, or am I a cowboy?
Oh, sir, you know you're a greater man here than the king himself.
Precisely. And now, do you know what you are?
I am nobody, sir, except that I have the honor to be your steward.
You have not only the honor of being my steward, but the privilege of being the worst, most incompetent, driveling, sniveling, gibber-driving idiot of a steward in France.
Yes, sir, to a great man like you, I must seem like that.
My fault, I suppose, eh?
Oh, sir, you always give my most innocent words such a turn.
I will give your neck a turn if you dare tell me when I ask how many eggs there are that you cannot lay any.
Oh, sir. Oh, sir.
No, not. Oh, sir, oh, sir. But no, sir, no, sir. My 3 Barbary and the Black are the best wares in Champagne, and you can come and tell me that there are no eggs? Who stole them? Tell me that before I kick you out of the castle gate for a liar and a seller of my goods to thieves. The milk was short yesterday, too. Do not forget that.
I know, sir. I know only too well. There are no eggs and there is no milk. Tomorrow there will be nothing.
Nothing? You will steal the lot, eh?
No, sir. Nobody will steal anything. But there is a spell on us. We are bewitched.
That story is not good enough for me. Robert de Badgecourt burns witches and hangs thieves. Now go. Get me 4 dozen eggs and 2 gallons of milk here in this room before noon, or Lord have mercy on your bones.
Sir, I tell you, there are no eggs and there is no milk. There will be nothing as long as the maid is at the door.
The maid? What maid? What are you talking about?
The girl from Lorraine, sir, from Domremy.
30,000 thunders, 50,000 devils! Do you mean to say that that girl who had the impudence to ask to see me 2 days ago, and whom I told you sent back to her father with my orders that she was to show her good hiding, is here still?
I have told her to go, sir. She won't.
I did not tell you to tell her to go. I told you to throw her out. You have 50 men at arms and a dozen lumps of able-bodied servants. Are they afraid of her?
She is so positive, sir.
Positive? Now see here, I'm going to throw you down the stairs.
No, sir, please.
Well, stop me by being positive. It's quite easy. Any smart girl could do it.
Sir, you cannot get rid of her by throwing me out. You see, sir, you are much more positive than I am, but so is she.
I'm much stronger than you are, you fool.
No, sir, it isn't that. It's your character, sir. She is weaker than we are. She's only a slip of a girl, but we cannot make her go.
You parcel of curs, you are afraid of her.
No, sir, we are afraid of you. But she doesn't really seem to be afraid of anything. Perhaps you could make her go.
Perhaps. Where is she now?
Down in the courtyard, sir, talking to soldiers. She's always talking to soldiers, except when she's praying.
Praying? You believe she prays, you idiot? I know the sort of girl that is always talking to soldiers. She shall talk to me in a bit. Hello? You there?
Is it me, sir?
Yes, you.
Be you captain?
Yes, damn your impudence, I be captain. Come up here. Show her the way, you, and shove her along quick.
She wants to be a soldier, sir, and have armor and a sword, really.
Good morning, Captain Squire. Captain, you are to give me a horse and armor and some soldiers and send me to the Dauphine. Those are your orders from my lord.
Orders from your lord? And who the devil may your lord be? Go back to him and tell him that I'm neither duke nor peer to his orders. I am Squire of Badgecourt, and I take no order except from the king.
Yes, Squire, that is all right. My lord is the King of Heaven.
Why, the girl's mad. Why don't you tell me so, you blockhead?
Sir, do not anger her. Give her what she wants.
They all say I am mad until I talk to them, Squire. But you see, that's the will of God that you are to do what he has put to my mind.
It is the will of God that I should send you back to your father with orders to put you under lock and key and thrash the madness out of you. What have you say to that?
You think you will, Squire, but you find it all coming quite different. You said you would not see me, but here I am.
Yes, sir. You see, sir.
Hold your tongue, you.
Yes, sir.
So you are presuming on my seeing you, are you?
Yes, Squire.
Now listen to me. I'm going to assert myself.
Please do, Squire. The horse will cost 16 francs. It is a good deal of money, but I can save it on the armor. I can find a soldier's armor that will fit me well enough. I am very hardy, and I don't need beautiful armor made to my measure like you wear. I should not want many soldiers. The Dauphine will give me all I need to raise the siege of Orleans.
To raise the siege of Orleans?
Yes, Squire. That is what God is sending me to do. 3 men will be enough for you to send with me if they are good men and gentle to me. They have promised to come with me, Polly and Jack and...
Polly? You impudent baggage. Do you dare call Bertrand de Plangy Polly to my face?
I did not know he had any other name. He promised to come with me. I did not know he had any other name. Jack?
That is Monsieur John of Metz, I suppose.
Yes, Squire. Jack will come willingly. He is a very kind gentleman and gives me money to give to the poor. I think John Godsave will come and Dick the Archer and their servants John of Homecourt and Julian. There will be no trouble for you, Squire. I've arranged it all. You have only to give the order.
Well, I am damned.
No, Squire. God is very merciful, and the blessed saints Catherine and Margaret who speak to me every day will intercede for you. You will go to paradise, and your name will be remembered forever as my first helper.
Is this true about Bertrand de Poulengy?
Yes, sir, and about Monsieur de Metz, too. They both want to go with her.
Hello? Will you send Bertrand de Poulengy to me, will you? Get out and wait in the yard.
Right, Squire?
Go with her, you dithering imbecile, and stay within call and keep an eye on her. I shall have her up again.
Do so in God's name, sir. Think of those hens, the best layers in Champagne, and...
Think of my boot and take your backside out of reach of it. It isn't service, Polly, a friendly talk. Sit down. Now listen to me, Polly. I must talk to you like a father. It's about this girl you're interested in. Now, I've seen her, and I have talked to her. First, she's mad, but that doesn't matter. Second, she's not a farm one, she's a bourgeois. That matters a good deal. I know her class exactly. Her father came here last year to represent his village in a lawsuit. He's one of their notables. A farmer. Not a gentleman farmer. He makes money by it and lives by it. Still not a laborer. Not a mechanic. He might have a cousin or lawyer in the church, but these people may be of no account socially but can give a great deal of bother to the authorities. Now that is to say to me, now no doubt it seems to you a quite simple thing that you were going to take this girl away, humbugging her to the belief that you were taking her to the Dauphin. But if you get her into trouble, you may get me into no end of a mess. And as I am her father's lord and responsible for her protection, friends or no friends, Polly, hands off her.
I should as soon think of the Blessed Virgin herself in that way, as of this girl.
But she says that you and Jack and Dick have offered to go with her. What for? You're not going to tell me they take this crazy notion of going to the Dauphin seriously, are you?
There is something about her. They are pretty foul-mouthed and foul-minded down in the guardroom, and I'm yet to hear anything about her being a woman. They have stopped swearing by her. There is something. Something. It may be worth trying.
Oh, come, Polly, pull yourself together. Common sense was never your strong point, but this is a little too much.
Common sense. What is the good of common sense? If we had any common sense, we would join the Duke of Burgundy and the English king. They hold half this country right down to the Loire. They have Paris, they have this castle, and you know very well that we had to surrender it to the Duke of Bedford and that they are only holding it on parole. The Dauphin is in Chinon, like a rat in a corner. Except he won't fight. We don't even know if he is the Dauphin. His mother says he isn't, and she ought to know. Think of that. The queen denying the legitimacy of her own son.
Well, she married her daughter to the English king. Can you blame the woman?
I blame nobody. But thanks to her, the Dauphin is down and out. The English will take Orleans. The illegitimate will not be able to stop them.
He beat the English the year before last at Montargis. I was with him.
No matter. His men are cowed now, and they can't work miracles. And I tell you, nothing can save our side now but a miracle.
Miracles are all right, Polly, but the only difficulty about them is they don't happen nowadays.
I used to think so. I am not so sure now. At all events, this is no time to leave any stone unturned.
Do you think the girl can work miracles, do you?
I think the girl is a bit of a miracle. And besides, she is the last card left in our hand. Better play her than throw up the game.
You really think that?
Is there anything else left for us to think?
Oh, come, Polly. If you were in my place, would you really let a girl like that do you 16 francs for a horse?
I will pay for the horse.
You will.
Yes, I will back my opinion.
You really gamble a formal hope to the tune of 16 francs?
It is not a gamble.
What else is it?
It is a certainty. Her words and her ardent faith in God have put a fire into me.
You are as mad as she is.
We ought to have a few mad people now. See where the sane ones have landed us.
I shall feel like a precious fool. Still, if you feel sure.
I feel sure enough to take her to Chinon, unless you should stop me.
This is not fair. You're putting all the responsibility on me.
It is on you, whichever way you decide.
Exactly that. Which way am I to decide? You not see how awkward this is for me. Do you think I ought to have another talk with her?
Yes. Joan, come up. Come in.
Will he let us go, Polly?
Shall I leave you with her?
Yeah. No. Stay here and back me up.
Jack will go halves for the horse.
Well,
Sit down, Joan.
May I?
do what you're told. What is your name?
They always call me Jenny in the rain. Here in France, I am Joan. The soldiers call me the maid.
What is your surname?
Surname? What is that? My father sometimes called himself d'Arc, but I know nothing about it. You met my father.
Yes, I remember. You come from Dome Remy in Lorraine, I think.
Yes, but what does it matter? We all speak French.
Don't ask questions. Answer them. How old are you?
17, so they tell me. It might be 19. I don't remember.
What did you mean when you said that St. Catherine and St. Margaret talk to you every day?
They do.
What are they like?
I will tell you nothing about that. They have not given me leave.
But you see them and talk to them just as I'm talking to you now.
No, it is quite different. I cannot tell you. You must not talk to me about my voices.
How do you mean? Voices?
I hear voices telling me what to do. They come from God.
They come from your imagination.
Of course. That is how the messages of God come to us.
Checkmate.
No fear. So God says you are to raise the siege of Orleans.
And to crown the Dauphine in Reims Cathedral.
Crown that... Gosh.
And to make the English leave France.
Anything else?
Not just at present, thank you, Squire.
So I suppose you think raising a siege is as easy as chasing a cow out of a meadow. Do you think soldiering is anybody's job?
It cannot be very difficult if God is on your side and you are willing to put your life in his hand. But many soldiers are very simple.
Simple? Did you ever see English soldiers fighting?
They are only men. God made them just like us, but he gave them their own country and their own language. And it is not his will that they should come into our country and try to speak our language.
Who's been putting such nonsense into your head? Don't you know that soldiers are subject to their feudal lord, and it has nothing to them or to you whether he's the Duke of Burgundy, the King of England, or the King of France? What has their language to do with it?
I do not understand that a bit. We are all subject to the King of Heaven, and he gave us our countries and our languages and meant us to keep to them. If it were not so, it would be murder to kill an Englishman in battle, and you, Squire, would be in great danger of hellfire. You must not think about your duty to your feudal lord, but about your duty to God.
It's no use, Robert. She can choke you like that every time.
Can she? By St. Denis, we shall see. We are not talking about God, we are talking about practical affairs. I ask you again, girl, have you ever seen English soldiers fighting? Have you ever seen them plundering, burning, turning the countryside into a desert? Did you ever hear of the tales of the Black Prince who's blacker than the devil himself? Or of the English king's father?
You must not be afraid, Robert.
Damn you, I'm not afraid. And who gave you the leave to call me Robert?
They call you so in church in the name of our Lord. All the other names are your father's or brother's or anybody's. Listen to me, Squire. At Domremy, we had to fly to the next village to escape from the English soldiers. 3 of them were left behind, wounded. I came to know these 3 poor Gothams quite well. They had not half my strength.
Do you know why they are called Gothams?
No, everyone calls them Gothams.
It's because they are always calling on God to condemn them to perdition. That is what it means in their language. How do you like it?
They will act like his good children when they go back to the country he made for them, and made them for. I have heard the tales of the Black Prince. The moment he touched the soil of our country, the devil entered into him, and made him a black fiend. But at home, in the place made for him by God, he was good. It is always so. If I went into England against the will of God to conquer England, the devil would enter into me, and when I was old, I should shudder to remember the wickedness I did.
Perhaps, but the more devil you might be, the better you might fight. And that is why the Gothams will take Orleans, and you cannot stop them, nor 10,000 like you.
1,000 like me can stop them. 10 like me can stop them with God on our side. You do not understand, Squire. Our soldiers are always beaten because they're fighting only to save their skins. And the shortest way to save your skin is to run away. Our knights are thinking only of the money they will make in ransoms. It is not kill or be killed, but pay or be paid. I will teach them all to fight that the will of God may be done in France. And you and Polly will live to see the day when there is not a single English soldier on the soil of France. There will be but one king there. Not the feudal English king, but God's French one.
This may be all right, Polly, but the troops might swallow it, though nothing we seem to say seems to put any sort of fight into them. Even the Dauphin might swallow it, and if she can put fight into him, she can put it into anyone.
I can see no harm in trying, sir. Can you?
Now, listen to me, and don't cut in before I have time to think.
Right, Squire?
You are to go to Chinon under the escort of this man and 3 of his friends.
Oh, Squire, your head is all circled with light like a saint's.
How is she to get into the royal presence?
I don't know. How does she get into mine? If the Dauphin can keep her out, then he's a better man than I take him for. You are to go to Chinon and tell them that I sent you. Then come what may, I can do no more.
And the dress? I may have a soldier's dress, mayn't I, Squire?
Have what you please. I wash my hands of it.
Come, Polly!
Goodbye, old man. I'm taking a big chance. A few other men would have done it, but as you say, there is something about the girl.
Yes, there's something about her. Goodbye.
What now?
The hens are laying like mad, sir. 5 dozen eggs.
Christ in heaven. She did come from God.
What the devil does the Dauphin mean by keeping us waiting like this? I don't know how you have the patience to stand there like a stone idol.
You see, I'm an archbishop. An archbishop is an idol of some sort. He has to learn to keep still and suffer fools patiently. Besides, my dear Lord Chamberlain, is it not the Dauphin's royal duty to keep you waiting?
Dauphin be damned. Saving your reverence. Do you know how much money he owes me?
Much more than he owes me, I have no doubt, because I know you're a much more richer man than me. But I take he owes you all you can afford. That's what he owes me.
27,000. That was his last haul. A cool 27,000.
What becomes of it all? He never has a suit of clothes out there to curate.
He dines on chicken or a scrap of mutton. He borrows my last penny and has nothing to show for it. At last.
No, my lord, it's not His Majesty. Monsieur de Ray is approaching.
Young Bluebeard, why announce him?
Captain Lahire is with him, and something's happened, I think.
Your faithful am, Archbishop. Good day, my lord. Do you know what has happened to Lahire?
He has sworn himself into a fit, perhaps.
Nope, just the opposite. Foul-mouthed Frank, the only man in Touraine who could beat him at swearing, was told by a soldier that he shouldn't use such language when he was at the point of death.
Nor any other point, but was foul-mouthed Frank at the point of death?
Yes, he has just fallen into a well and been drowned. Lahire is frightened out of his wits. I have just been telling the Chamberlain and the Archbishop. The Archbishop says you are a lost man.
This is nothing to joke about. It is worse than we thought. It is not a soldier, but an angel dressed as a soldier.
An angel?
Yes, an angel. She has made her way through Champagne with only half a dozen of men. Through the thick of everything. Burgundians, Gothams, deserters, robbers, and Lord knows who. They have never met a soul except the country folk. I know one of them, de Bollinger. He says that she's an angel. If I ever utter another oath against my will again, may my soul be blasted into eternal damnation.
A very pious beginning, Captain.
His Majesty.
Oh, Archbishop! Do you know what Robert de Bachicourt is sending me from Vaucouleurs?
I'm not interested in the newest toys.
It isn't a toy. However, I can get on very well without your interest.
Your Highness is taking events very necessarily.
Thank you. You're always ready with a lecture, aren't you?
Enough grumbling. What have you got there?
What is that to you?
It is my business to know what passes between you and the garrison of Vaucouleurs.
You all treat me as you please because I'm no good at fighting and I owe you money, but I have the blood roll in my veins.
Even that has been questioned, Your Highness. One hardly recognized you as grandson of Charles the Wise.
I want to hear no more of my grandfather. He was so wise to use up the whole family stock for 5 generations and left me the poor fool I am, insulted and bullied by all of you.
Control yourself, sir. These outbursts of petulance are not seemly.
Another lecture. Thank you. But what a pity it is, though, that you are an archbishop. Saints and angels don't come to see you.
What do you mean?
Ask the bully there.
Hold your tongue, do you hear?
Oh, I hear. You need to shout. The whole castle can hear. Why don't you go and yell at the English and beat them for us?
You young?
Don't raise your hand at me. It's high treason.
Steady, you. Steady. Calm down. We must keep some sort of order. And you, if you cannot rule your kingdom, at least try to rule yourself.
Another lecture. Thank you.
Here, read the cursed thing for me. He sent the blood boiling into my head. I can't distinguish the letters.
I can read it if you like. I can read, you know.
Yes, reading is about all you are fit for. Can you make it out, Archbishop?
Well, I should have expected more common sense for de Bachicourt. Seems like he's sending some crass country lass here.
No, he is sending a saint, an angel. She's coming to me, not to you, Archbishop, as holy as you are.
You cannot be allowed to see this crazy wench.
I'm the king, and I will.
Then she cannot be allowed to see you.
I tell you, I will. I'm going to put my foot down.
Naughty. What would your wise grandfather say?
That just shows your ignorance, Bluebeard. My grandfather had a saint that used to float in the air while he was praying, and my poor father had 2 saints. It is in our family, and I will have my saints too.
This woman isn't a saint. She's not a respectable woman. She dresses like a soldier and rides around with soldiers. Do you suppose such a person could be admitted to your highness's courts?
Stop! Did you say a girl in armor, like a soldier?
So the Bajacourt describes her.
Oh, but by all the devils in hell! Oh, God, forgive me. What am I saying? But by Our Lady and all the saints, this must be the girl that struck Falmouth Frank dead for swearing.
You see, a miracle.
Be careful, Archbishop, for what you are doing.
Rubbish, no one's been struck dead. A drunken blackguard who's been rebuked several times for swearing has fallen into a well and drowned. A mere coincidence.
I do not know what coincidence is, Archbishop, but I do know a man is dead, and she told him he was going to die.
We're all going to die, Captain.
I hope not.
We can easily find out whether she's an angel or not. Let us arrange that when she comes that I shall be the Dauphin and see whether she will find me out.
Yes, I agree to that. If she cannot find the blood royal, I'll have nothing to do with her.
It is for the church to make saints.
Well,
We'll have to see if she can be admitted.
But Archbishop,
I speak in the church's name.
well, if you make an excommunication matter, I have nothing more to say. But you haven't read the end of the letter.
Rot!
Well, will you beat the English for us?
Do not throw that in my face again, do you hear? I've done more fighting than you ever did or ever will, but I cannot be everywhere.
Well, that's something.
you have Jacques de Noix at the head of your troops in Orleans, the brave de Noix, the handsome de Noix, the wonderful invincible de Noix, the darling of all the ladies, the beautiful illegitimate. Is it likely that the country lass can do what he cannot do?
Why doesn't he rage the siege then?
The wind is against him.
How can the wind hurt him at Orleans? It is not in the channel.
It is on the river Loire, and the English hold the bridgehead. He must ship his men across the river and upstream if he is to take them in the rear. Well, he cannot, because there's a devil of wind behind him. What he needs is a miracle. And you tell me what that girl did to Falmouth Frank was no miracle. Doesn't matter. It finished Frank. And if she changes the wind for Dunois, it might not be a miracle either, but it may finish the English.
Well, it seems that the Bajacourt's extraordinarily impressed.
The Bajacourt is a blazing ass, but he is a soldier, and if he thinks that she can beat the English, the army will too.
Oh, let them have their way. Dunois' men will give up the town in spite of them if somebody doesn't put some fresh funk into them.
I will find her and tell her.
Come with me, Bluebeard, and let us arrange so that you pretend to be me.
Pretend to be that thing? Holy Michael.
I wonder, will she pick him out?
Of course she will.
And why? How is she to know?
She'll know what everyone in Chinon knows. The Dauphin is the meanest looking and worst dressed figure of all of Chinon, and that the man with the blue beard is Gilles de Reyes.
I never thought of that.
You're not so accustomed to miracles as I am. It is part of my profession.
But that would not be a miracle at all.
How come?
Why come? What is a miracle?
A miracle, my friend, is an event which creates faith. That is the purpose and nature of miracles. They may seem very wonderful to people who witness them, but very simple to those who perform them.
Even if they're frauds, do you mean?
Frauds deceive. An event which creates faith are true miracles.
Well, since you are an archbishop, you must be right. But it seems a bit fishy to me. But I'm no churchman, and I don't understand these matters.
You are not a churchman. You're a diplomatist and a soldier. Could you make our citizens pay war taxes, or a soldier sacrifice their lives if they truly knew what was going on?
No, by St. Denis, the fat would be in the fire before sundown.
Why not tell them the truth?
Man alive, they wouldn't believe it.
Well, the church must nourish their people for the good of their souls as you nourish them for the good of their bodies. And by doing that, we must do as you do. Nourish their faith by poetry.
Poetry? I shall call it humbug.
You would be wrong, my friend. Parables are not lies because they describe events that never happened. Miracles are not frauds because they are often, I do not say always, innocent and simple contrivances the priest makes to fortify his flock. When the maid picks out the Dauphin among his courtiers, it will be a miracle and a blessed one.
Well, I wish I were clever enough to know how much of you is in God's archbishop and how much the most artful fox in terrain. Come on now, I want to see it. Miracle or no miracle.
Do not think me a lover of crooked ways. There is a new spirit rising among men, a wider epoch. If I were a simple monk and not had to rule men for the good of their souls, I would seek peace with Pythagoras and Aristotle instead of the saints and their miracles.
And who the deuce was Pythagoras?
A sage who believed that the earth was round and that it revolves around the sun.
What an utter fool. Couldn't he use his eyes?
How are you? I'm fine. How are you? I'm just fine. How about you?
The Duke of Vendôme presents Joan the Maid to His Majesty.
Let her approach the throne.
My dear, her hair. I wear it like this because I'm a soldier. Where be Delphine?
You're in the presence of the Dauphin.
Whom, Bluebeard, thou canst not fool me. Where be Delphine? Gentle little Delphine, I'm sent to you to drive the English away from Orleans and from France, and to crown you king in Reims Cathedral, where all true kings of France are crowned.
You see, all of you. Now who dares say that I'm not my father's son? But if you want me to be crowned at Reims Cathedral, you must talk to the Archbishop. There he is.
Oh, my lord, I'm only a poor country girl, and you are filled with the blessedness and glory of God himself. But you will touch me with your hand and give me your blessing, won't you?
The old fox blushes.
Another miracle.
Child, you are in love with religion.
Am I? I never thought of that. Is there any harm in it?
There is no harm, but there is danger.
There is always danger except in heaven. Oh, my lord, you've given me such strength, such courage. Must be a most wonderful thing to be Archbishop.
Gentlemen, your levity is rebuked by this maid's faith. I am, God help me, all unworthy, but your mirth is a deadly sin.
My lord, we were laughing at her, not at you.
What? Not at her faith, but at my unworthiness? The maid prophesied that the blasphemer should be drowned in his sin.
No.
I prophesy now that you will be hanged in yours if you do not learn when to laugh and when to pray.
My lord, I stand rebuked. I am sorry, I can say no more. But if you prophesy that I shall be hanged, I shall never be able to resist temptation, because I shall always be telling myself that I may as well be hanged for a sheep as a lamb.
You are an idle fellow, Bluebeard, and you have great impudence to answer the Archbishop.
Well said, lass, well said.
Oh, my lord, will you send all these silly folk away so that I may speak to the Delphine alone?
I can take a hint.
Come, people, the maid comes with the Lord's blessing.
Pardon me. Will you allow me to pass, please? Beg pardon, ma'am, I'm sure. Be that queen?
No, she thinks she is.
Ooh.
I'll trouble your highness not to gibe at my wife.
Who be old Gruffingrum?
That's the Duke of de la Trimouille.
What be his job?
He pretends to command the army, but whenever I find a friend he cares for, he kills him.
Why dost let him?
How can I prevent him? He bullies me. They all bully me.
Art afraid?
Yes, I am afraid, and there's no use to preaching to me about it. It is all very well with these big men and their armor that is too heavy for me, their swords I can hardly lift, and their muscles and their shouting. It was pushed on me to be king. I don't want to. If you're going to say, son of St. Louis, stir to the gourd of your own ancestors, and lead us to victory, you may spare your breath to cool your porridge, for I cannot do it.
Blethers, we are all like that to begin with. I shall put courage into thee.
I don't want courage put into me. I want to sleep in a comfortable bed and not live in continual terror of being killed or wounded. Put courage into others so they can have their belly fills of fighting.
It's no use, Charlie. Thou must face what God puts on thee. If thou fail to make thyself king, thou be a beggar, and what else art fit for? Come, let me see you sitting on the throne. I've looked forward to that.
What's the point of sitting on the throne when all the others give all the orders? However, here's the king for you. Look at the poor devil.
Thou'rt not king yet, lad. Thou'rt but Delphine. Be not led away by them around thee. Dressing up don't fill empty noddle. I know the people, the real people that make thy bread for thee, and I tell thee they count no man king of France until the holy oil has been poured on his hair and himself consecrated and crowned in Reims Cathedral. And thou needs new clothes, Charlie. Why does not queen look after thee properly?
We're too poor, and whatever we have we can spare on our own back. She takes it. Besides, I like seeing her beautifully dressed.
There is some good in thee, Charlie, but it is not yet a king's good.
You shall see. I'm not such a fool as I look. I know that one good treaty is worth 10 good fights. And if we would just give a treaty, these fighting fellows will have the worst of it. Because the English are better at fighting than at thinking.
If the English win, it is they that will make the treaty, and then God help poor France. Thou must fight, Charlie, whether thou will or no. I will go first to hearten thee, but we must take our courage in both hands. Aye, and pray for it with both hands, too.
Oh, do stop talking about God and prayer. I can't stand people who are always praying. Is it enough to pray at proper times?
Thou poor child, thou hast never prayed in thy life.
I'm not a child. I'm a king and a father. I will not be taught anymore.
You have a little son. He that will be Louis XI when you die. Would you not fight for him?
No, he's a horrid boy. He hates me. He hates everybody. Selfish little beast. So, Let you mind your own business and let me mind mine.
Minding your own business is like minding your own body. The shortest way to make yourself sick. What is my business? Helping mother at home. What is mine? Petting lap dogs and sucking sugar sticks. I call that muck. I tell thee it is God's business we are here to do, not our own. And I have a message to thee from God, and thou must listen to it, though thy heart break with the terror of it.
I don't want a message, but can you do any cures? Can you turn lead into gold or anything of that sort?
I can turn thee into a king in Rhymes Cathedral. And that is a miracle, though it takes some doing, it seems.
If we go to Rhymes and we'll want new dresses, and we can't afford it, I'm fine as I am.
As you are? And what is that? Less than my father's poorest shepherd. I tell thee, thou art not lawful owner of thy own land of France until thou be consecrated.
How will the coronation pay off my mortgages? I have pledged my last acre to Archbishop and that fat bully. I even owe money to Bluebeard.
Charlie, I come from the land and have gotten my strength working on the land. And I tell thee the land is thine to rule righteously and keep God's peace in. And I tell thee to kneel at the cathedral and solemnly give thy kingdom to him forever and ever as his soldier and his bailiff, his steward and his servant. The very clay of France will become holy. Her soldiers will be soldiers of God. The rebel dukes will be rebels against God. The English will fall on their knees and beg thee, let them return to their lawful homes in peace. Wilt be a poor little Judas and betray me and him that sent me?
Oh, if I dare.
I shall dare, dare, and dare again in God's name. Art for or against me?
I'll risk it. I will. I warn you, I shan't be able to keep it up for long, but I'll risk it. Hello, everybody, come back! Please stand by and don't let me be bullied. Come on, the whole court! Here goes. Call for silence, you little beast.
Silence for His Majesty the King. The King speaks. Will you be silent there?
I've given the command of the army to the maid. She can do what she likes with it.
What is this? I command the army.
Thou'rt answered, old gruff and grum. Who be for God and his maid? Who be for Orleans with me?
For God and his maid to Orleans!
West wind, west wind, west wind. Strumpet, steadfast when you should be wanton, wanton when you should be steadfast. West wind on the silver Loire. What rhymes with Loire? Change, curse you, change, English harlot of a wind. Will you ever blow again?
Look, there she goes.
Where, who, the maid?
No, the kingfisher, like blue lightning. She went into that bush.
Is that all, you infernal young idiot? I have a mind to pitch you in the river.
It looked frightfully jolly, that flash of blue. Look, there goes the other.
Where?
Passing the reeds.
I see.
They looked frightfully jolly. Aren't they lovely? I wish I could catch them.
If I see you trying to catch them, I'll put you in a cage for a month, you abominable boy. Bluebird, bluebird, since I am friend to thee, change thou the wind for me. No, does not rhyme. He who has sinned for thee, that is better. No sense in it, though. Will you ever blow again?
Halt. Who goes there? The maid.
Hither, maid, to me.
Be you the illegitimate of Orleans?
You see the bend sinister. Are you Joan the maid?
Sure.
Where are your troops?
Miles behind. They've cheated me. They brought me to the wrong side of the river.
I told them to.
Why did you? The English are on the other side.
The English are on both sides.
Yes, but Orleans is on the other side. We must fight the English there. How can we cross the river?
There is a bridge.
In God's name, then let us cross the bridge and fall on them.
It seems simple, but it cannot be done.
Who says so?
I say so, and older and wiser heads than mine have the same opinion.
Well, your older and wiser heads are fat heads, and they've made a fool of you, and they're trying to make a fool of me too, bringing me to the wrong side of the river. Do you not know that I bring you better help than ever came to any general or any town?
Of your own?
No, the help and counsel of the King of Heaven. How can we cross the bridge?
You are impatient, maid.
Is this a time for patience? Our enemy is at our gates, and here we stand doing nothing. Oh, why are you not fighting? Listen to me. I will deliver you from fear.
No. If you were to deliver me from fear, I'd be a very good knight for a storybook, but a very bad captain of the army. Come, let me begin to make a soldier of you. Do you see those 2 forts, the big ones?
Yes. Are they ours or Gotham's?
Be quiet and listen to me. If I were in either of those forts with only 10 men, I could hold it against an entire army. The English are in those forts with 10 times 10 men to hold it against us.
They cannot hold them against God. God did not give them the land under those forts. He gave it to us. I will take those forts.
Single-handed?
No. Our men will take them. I will lead them.
Not a man will follow you.
I will not look back to see whether anyone is following me.
You have the makings of a soldier yet. You are in love with war.
I? And the Archbishop said I was in love with religion.
I'm a little bit in love with war myself, the ugly devil. I'm like a man with 2 wives. Would you like to be a woman with 2 husbands?
No, I will never take a husband. I'm a soldier. I do not want to be thought of as a woman. I do not care for the things women care for. They dream of lovers and of money. I dream of leading a charge and placing the big guns. You soldiers don't know how to use the big guns. You think you can battles with great noise and smoke.
That is true. The artillery is a lot more trouble than it is worth most of the time.
Aye, lad, but you cannot fight stone walls with horses.
Aye, lass, but a good heart and a stout ladder will get over the stoniest wall.
I'll be the first up the ladder when we reach the fort, illegitimate. I dare you to follow me.
You must not dare a company officer, Joan. Only staff officers are allowed to display personal displays of courage. And besides, you must know, I welcome you here as a saint, not as a soldier. I have daredevils enough at my call, if they were any help to me.
I'm no daredevil. I'm a servant of God. My heart is full of courage, not of anger. I will lead, and your men will follow, but that is all I can do, and I must do it. You shall not stop me.
All in good time, maid. My men cannot take those forts by a sally across the bridge. We must go by water.
Then make rafts and put big guns on them, and have your men cross to us.
The rafts are ready, and the men are embarked, but we must wait for God.
What do you mean? God is waiting for them.
Let him send us a west wind, then. My men are downstream, and they cannot go up against both wind and current. We must wait for God to change the wind. Come, let me take you to the church.
No, I love church, but the English will not yield to prayers. They understand nothing but hard knocks and slashes. I won't go to church until we've beaten them.
You must. I have business for you there.
What business?
Praying. I have prayed and given 2 silver candlesticks, but my prayers are not answered. You are young and innocent. Yours might be.
Yes, you're right. I will pray. I will tell St. Catherine. She'll make God give me a west wind. Quick, show me the way to the church. Oh, God bless you, child.
Senor, mademoiselle.
What is it, the kingfisher?
Oh, a kingfisher, where?
No, the wind. That's what made me sneeze.
The wind has changed. God has spoken. You command the king's army. I am your soldier.
The boats have put off. They're ripping upstream like anything.
Dunois, dear comrade in arms, help me. My eyes are blinded with tears. Set my foot on the ladder and say, up, Joan.
Never mind the tears. Make for the flash of the big guns.
Ah!
For God and the maid.
For God and St. Dennis.
Now, this is what I call workmanship. There is nothing more exquisite than a bonny book with well-placed, rich columns of beautiful black writing and illuminated pictures cunningly inset. Nowadays, a book, instead of looking at them, people read them. A book might as well be one of those orders for bacon and bran that you are scribbling.
I must say, my lord, you are taking our situation very coolly indeed.
What is the matter?
The matter, my lord, is that we English have been defeated.
That happens, you know. It is only in history books and ballads that the enemy is always defeated.
But we are being defeated over and over again. First, Orleans.
Oh, Orleans.
I know what you are going to say, my lord. That was a clear case of witchcraft and sorcery, but we are still being defeated. Jagot, Mayung, Beaugency, just like Orleans. And now, we have been butchered at Patay and Sir John Talbot taken prisoner. I feel it, my lord. I feel it very deeply, and I cannot bear to see my countrymen defeated by a parcel of foreigners.
Oh, you are an Englishman, are you?
Certainly not, my lord. I am a gentleman. Still, like your lordship, I was born in England, and it makes a difference.
Oh, you are attached to the soil, eh?
It pleases your lordship to be satirical at my expense. Your greatness privileges you to be so with impunity. But your lordship knows very well that I am not attached to the soil in a vulgar manner like a serf. Still, I have a feeling about it, and I'm not ashamed of it. And by God, if this goes on any longer, I will fling my cassock to the devil and take arms myself and strangle the accursed witch with my own hands.
So you shall, chaplain, so you shall. If we have nothing better to do. But not yet. Not quite yet.
The Right Reverend His Lordship, Monsieur Cachon.
My dear Bishop, how good of you to come. Allow me to introduce myself. Richard de Beauchamp, Earl of Warwick, at your service.
Your lordship's fame is well known to me.
This reverend cleric is Master Jean de Stogumber.
Jean Boyer Spencer Neville de Stogumber at your service, Bachelor of Theology and keeper of the private seal to His Eminence, the Cardinal of Winchester.
The Cardinal of England, I believe you call him, our king's uncle.
Monsieur John de Stogumber, I'm always the very good friend of His Eminence.
Please, do me the honor to be seated. Well, my dear Bishop, you find us in one of our unlucky moments. Charles is to be crowned at Reims, practically by the young woman from Lorraine, and I must not deceive you nor flatter your hopes. We cannot prevent it. I suppose it will make a great difference to Charles's position.
Undoubtedly, it is a masterstroke of the maids.
We were not fairly beaten, my lord. No Englishman is ever fairly beaten.
Our friend here takes the opinion that the young woman is a sorceress.
Not the least, an errant witch.
We are asking for the bishop's opinion, Mr. Jean.
We shall have to consider not merely our own opinions here, but the opinions, the prejudices, if you like, of a French court.
A Catholic court, my lord.
Catholic courts are composed of mortal men, as are other courts. And if the men are Frenchmen, I am afraid that the mere fact that a English army was defeated by a French army will not convince them that there's any sorcery within the matter.
What? Not when the famous Sir Talbot himself has been defeated and actually taken prisoner by a drab from the ditches of Lorraine.
Sir John Talbot, we all know, is a fierce and formidable soldier. But I have yet to learn that he's an able general. And though it may please your lordship to say that he has been defeated by this girl, some of us are disposed to give a little credit to Dunois.
The illegitimate of Orleans.
Let me remind...
I know what you're going to say. Dunois defeated me at Montargis.
I take that as evidence that he's a very able commander indeed.
Your lordship is the very flower of courtesy. I admit on our side that Talbot is a mere fighting animal, and it served him right to be taken at Patay.
My lord, this woman had her throat pierced by an arrow. It was a death wound, yet she fought all day. Was this your illegitimate generalship?
You will forgive Mr. Jean's vehemence, but he has put our case. Dunois is a great captain, I admit, but why could he do nothing until the witch arrived?
I do not say that there is no supernatural powers on her side, but the names on that white banner were not the names of Satan or Beelzebub, but the names of our Holy Lord and His Blessed Mother. And your drowned captain, he was no saint. And some of our people believe that he was drowned for his blasphemies against the maid.
Well, what are we to infer from this? Has the maid converted you?
If she had, I should have known better than to have placed myself here within your grasp.
Oh, my lord. No.
If the devil is making use of this girl, and I believe he is...
Oh, you hear this, Mr. Jean. I knew your lordship would not fail us. Pardon my interruption. Please, proceed.
If it be so, the devil has much longer views than you give him credit for.
Indeed? In what way?
If the devil wanted to damn a mere country girl, do you think such an easy task would cost him half a dozen battles? No. The Prince of Darkness does not condescend to such cheap drudgery. When he strikes against the Holy Catholic Church, whose whole realm is the entire spiritual world. It is against that design that the church is ever on guard. It is an instrument of that design that I see this girl. She is inspired, but diabolically inspired.
I told you she was a witch.
She is not a witch. She is a heretic.
What difference does that make?
You, a priest, ask me that. What does winning a few battles prove except that she has a better head on her shoulders than your mad bull Talbots, and that the courage of faith outstays the courage of wrath?
My lord, I wipe the slate as far as witchcraft goes. Nonetheless, we must burn the woman.
I cannot burn her. The church cannot take life, and my first duty is to seek this girl's salvation.
No doubt, but you do burn people occasionally.
No. When the church cuts off an obstinate heretic, they're handed over to the secular arm. It is not up to the church what the secular arm may do from that point on.
Precisely. If you will answer for the church's part, then I shall answer for the secular.
I can answer for nothing. You great lords are too prone to use the church as a mere political convenience.
Not in England, I assure you.
In England, more than anywhere else. This girl's soul is of equal value to yours or your king's before the throne of God. And I am no mere political bishop.
You're a traitor.
You lie, priest. And if you do what this girl has done, put your nation before the church, you will burn with her.
My lord, I went too far.
My lord, I apologize to you for the word used by Master Jean de Stougenburg. It does not mean in England what it means in France. In your country, traitor means betrayer, one who is disloyal. In our language here in England, it means someone who is not wholly devoted to English interests.
I am sorry, I did not understand.
My lord, I feel that I must apologize to you on my account for my behavior if I have taken the burning of this poor girl so lightly. You see, the truth of the matter is when one has seen whole countrysides burnt over and over again as a matter of mere military routine, one has to grow a very thick skin. Otherwise, one might go mad. At all events, I should. May I venture to assume that your lordship, having seen heretic burned from time to time, has been compelled to take, shall I say, a more professional view on what would otherwise be a very horrible incident?
Yes, it is a painful duty, a horrible one, as you may say. But I am not thinking about this girl's body, which will suffer for a few moments only, but of her soul that may suffer for all of eternity. My first duty is to seek this girl's salvation.
Just so. And may God grant her that her soul be saved. But the practical problem lies in how might we save the soul of the girl without saving her body. You see, if this cult of the maid goes on, our cause is lost.
May I speak, my lord?
Really, Mrs. Jean, I would rather you not unless you can keep your temper.
It is only this. I speak under correction, but the maid is full of deceit. She pretends to be devout. Her prayers and confessions are endless. How could she be accused of heresy when she neglects no observance of a faithful daughter of the church?
A faithful daughter of the church? The Pope at his proudest would not presume what this girl presumes. She acts as if she herself was the church. She brings the message of God to Charles, and the church must stand aside. She is going to crown Charles at Reims, and the church is not going to.
What do you expect? A beggar on horseback? Her head is turned.
And who has turned it? The devil. He is spreading this heresy everywhere. The man named Huss, burned only 13 years ago. At Constance, he infected all of Bohemia with it. And another man, Wycliffe, himself an anointed priest, and spread this pestilence all throughout England. I've seen this all time and time again throughout France. It is cancerous. If it is not cut out, stomped out, burnt out, it'll infect all of modern human society with it.
You feel strongly about it, naturally.
And you do not.
My lord, I am not gainsaying you. You will carry the church with you, but you have to carry the nobles also. To my mind, there is a greater case against the maid than the one you have so forcibly put. In fact, I am not concerned with this girl superseding the church and becoming another Muhammad. I think you exaggerate the risk. But have you noticed in these letters of hers that she has addressed to all the kings of Europe? She proposes a transaction, as she has already proposed to Charles, a transaction that would wreck the whole social structure of Christendom.
Wreck the church, I tell you so.
Oh, my lord, I pray get the church out of your head for one moment, and remember that there are temporal institutions in this world as well as spiritual ones. I and my peers, we represent the feudal aristocracy as you represent the church. Do you not see how this girl's idea strikes at us?
How does it strike at all of us? Through the church.
By no means. It is a cunning device to supersede the aristocracy and make the king sole and absolute autocrat. Instead of the king merely being the first among his peers, he now becomes their master. We will not suffer that. We will call no man master. Now, by the maid's doctrine, the king will come, take our lands, and then make them a present to God, and then God will vest them wholly in the king.
Need you fear that, after all? You are the makers of kings.
Yes, but only as long as people follow their feudal lords and know the king as nothing but a traveling show, owning nothing but the highway that belongs to everybody. If the people's thoughts and hearts were turned to the king, and their lords became servants in the king's eyes, The king would take us, break us across his knee, one by one, and then what would we be but livered courtiers among his halls?
You still not fear that. Some men are born kingsmen, and some men are born statesmen. The two are hardly ever the same. And where would the king find such people in his counselors to plan such a thing?
Perhaps in the church, my lord. Strike down the barons, and the cardinals will have it all their own way.
My lord, if we continue to strive against one another, we shall not defeat the maid. I know there is a will to power in this world, and as long as it lasts, there will be a struggle between emperor and pope. I know you are no friend of the church. You are an earl first and last, and I am a churchman first and last. The devil governs us and divides us, but can we not put aside our differences for one moment to face a common enemy?
Quite so. These ideas of hers, my lord, they are the same at the bottom. It goes deep, my lord. It is the protest of the individual soul against the interference of peer or priest between the private man and his God. I should call it Protestantism, if I had to find a name for it.
You understand it well. Scratch an Englishman, find a Protestant.
I see you are not entirely void of sympathy concerning the maid secular heresy. I leave you to find a name for it.
You mistake me, my lord. I do not share the same political views as this woman. Some may say that she describes it as England for the English, France for the French, Spain for the Spanish, and Italy for the Italians. And this only can be described as nationalistic.
Well, my lord, if you will burn the Protestant, then I shall burn the nationalist. Although I shall not bring Monsieur Joan with me, England for the English will appeal to him.
Certainly England for the English goes without saying, but I do not understand what your lordships mean by Protestant and nationalist. What I do know, as a matter of plain common sense, is that the woman is a rebel.
My lord, we seem to be agreed.
I will not imperil my soul. I will strive for the utmost for this girl's salvation and keep the justice of the church.
I am sorry for this poor girl. I do hate these severities. I will spare her if I can.
I would burn her with my own hands.
Sancta simplicitas.
Come, Joan, you have had enough praying. After that fit of crying, you will catch a chill if you stay here any longer. It is all over. The cathedral is empty and the streets are full. They are calling for Joan the maid, and I have told them you are praying, but they want to see you again.
No, let the king have all the glory.
He only spoils the show, the poor devil. No, you have crowned him and you must go through with it. It's better than the bridge to Orleans, eh?
Dear Jack, I wish it were the bridge at Orleans again. We lived at that bridge.
Yes, Faith, and died, some of us too.
Isn't it strange, Jack? I'm such a coward. I'm frightened beyond words before a battle, but it is so dull afterwards when there is no danger. Oh, so dull, dull, dull.
You must learn to be abstemious in war, Joan, just as you are in your food and drink.
Dear Jack, I think you like me as a soldier likes his comrade.
You need it, too. You have not very many friends at court.
Why do all these courtiers and knights and churchmen hate me? What have I done to them? I have asked nothing for myself except that my village should not be taxed, for we cannot afford war taxes. I have brought them luck and victory. I have set them right when they were doing all sorts of stupid things. I have crowned Charles and made him a real king, and all the honors he has handing out have gone to them. So why do they not love me?
Simpleton. Do you expect stupid people to love you for showing them up? Do old military dugouts love the successful young captains who supersede them? Why, I should be jealous of you myself if I were ambitious enough.
You are the pick of the basket here, Jack. The only friend I have among all these nobles. I'll wager your mother is from the country. I will go back to the farm when I have taken Paris.
I'm not sure they will let you take Paris.
What?
I should have taken Paris myself if they had all been sound about it. But no, I think some of them would rather Paris took you, so take care.
Jack, the world is too wicked for me. Only for my voices I should lose all hope. I'll tell you something, Jack. It is in the bells I hear my voices. Not today when they all rang, but in the fields.
You make me uneasy when you talk about your voices, Joan.
Hark! Do you hear? Dear child of God, just what you said. At the half hour they will say, be brave, go on. At the 3/4 they will say, I am thy help. But it is at the hour when the great bell goes after, God will save France. It is then they will say things that even I cannot tell beforehand. Then, oh then.
Then, Joan, we shall hear whatever we fancy in the booming of the bell. You make me uneasy when you talk about your voices. I should think you were a bit cracked if you didn't give me very sensible reasons for what you do.
Well, I must find reasons for you, because you do not believe in my voices. But the voices come first, and I find reasons after, whatever you may choose to believe.
Are you angry, Joan?
Yes. No, not with you. I wish you were one of the village babies.
Why?
I could nurse you for a while.
You're a bit of a woman after all.
No, not a bit. I'm a soldier and nothing else. Soldiers always nurse children when they get the chance.
That is true. Ah, Your Majesty is anointed king at last. How do you like it?
I would not go through it again to be Emperor of the Sun and the Moon. The weight of those robes, I thought have dropped when they loaded that crown onto me. And the holy oil they talk so much about, was rancid. I think the Archbishop must nearly be dead. They're still stripping him in the vestry.
Your Majesty should wear armor more often. It would accustom you to heavy dressing.
Yes, the old jibe. But I do not wear armor. Fighting is not my job. Where's the maid?
Sire, I've crowned you king. My work is done. I'm going back to my father's farm.
Oh, really? That would be nice. A healthy life, you know.
But a dull one.
You will find the petticoats tripping you up after leaving them off for so long.
You will miss the fighting. It is a bad habit, but a grand one, and the hardest to break yourself off of.
But we don't want you to stay. You'd much rather go home.
I know well that none of you will be sorry to see me go.
Well, I'll be able to swear what I want to, but I shall miss you at times.
Lahire, in spite of all your sins and swears, we shall meet again in heaven. For I love you as I love Patau, my old sheepdog. Patau could kill a wolf. You will kill the English wolves until they go back to their country and become good dogs of God, will you not?
Yes, you and I together.
No, I should only last a year from the beginning.
What?
I know it somehow.
Nonsense.
Jack, do you think you'll be able to drive them out?
Yes, I shall drive them out. They beat us before because we thought battles were tournaments and ransom markets. But I have learned my lesson. I have beaten them before, and I shall beat them again.
You will not be cruel to them, Jack.
The English will not yield to tender handling. We did not begin it.
Jack, before I go home, let us take Paris.
Oh, no, no, no. We shall lose everything we have gained. We should make a treaty with the Duke of Burgundy.
Treaty?
Well, why not, now that I am crowned and anointed?
Oh, that oil.
Archbishop, the maid wants to start fighting again.
Have we stopped fighting? Are we at peace?
Well, I suppose not, but our luck is too good to last.
Luck. God has fought for us, and you call that luck. And you would stop now while there are still English soldiers on the holy earth of dear France?
Maid, the king addressed himself to me, not to you. You forget yourself. You very often forget yourself.
Then speak you, and tell him that it is not God's will that he should take his hand from the plow.
If I was not so glib with the word of God as you are, it's because I interpret his will through the name of the church and of my sacred office. When you first came, you respected it, and would not dare to speak as you were speaking now. You came clothed with the virtue of humility, and because since God has blessed your enterprises, you have stained yourself with the sin of pride. The Greek tragedy is rising among us, the chastisement of hubris.
She is right, and everyone else is wrong.
But I do know better than any of you seem to. And I'm not proud. I never speak unless I know I am right.
Just so.
And how do you know you're right?
I always know. My voice is...
Oh, your voices, your voices. Why don't your voices come to me? I am king, not you.
They do come to you, but you do not hear them. If you prayed from your heart, you would hear them as well as I do. But what voices do you need to tell you what the blacksmith can tell you? That you must strike while the iron is hot. I tell you, we must make a dash of Champagne and relieve it as we relieved Orleans. Then Paris will open up its gates. What is your crown worth without your capital?
Yes, that is what I say too. We shall go through them like a red shot hot through a pound of butter. What do you say, you legitimate?
If our cannonballs were all as hot as your head and we had enough of them, we should take on the earth, no doubt. Pluck and impetuosity are good servants in war, but very bad masters. They have led us into the hands of the English every single time we have trusted to them. We never know when we are beaten. That is our great fault.
You never know when you're victorious. That is a worse fault. I should have to make you carry looking glasses into battle to make you see that the English have not cut off all your noses. I tell you, we must make a dash at Champagne. And
I know what you think of us, General Joan.
Never mind that, Jack. Tell them what you think of me.
I think that God is on your side, for I have not forgotten how the wind changed and how our hearts changed when you came. But I tell you as a soldier that God is no man's daily drudge, and no maid's either. Sometimes, if you are worthy, he will snatch you out of the jaws of death and set you on your feet again. But once he has done that, we must fight with all of our might, for he has to be fair to our enemy too. But he set us on our feet through you at Orleans. But if we presume on it any further and trust God to do the work we should do ourselves, we shall be defeated, and serve us right. But be quiet, I have not finished yet. Do not think any of you that these victories of ours were won without generalship. King Charles, you made no mention of my efforts in this campaign in your speeches, and I make no complaint of that, for I know that the people will follow the maid in her miracles and not the general in his efforts in finding an army and feeding them. But I also know just how much God did for us through the maid and how much he left me to do by my own wits. And I say now that your hour of miracles is over, and from this point on, he who fights the war game best will win, if luck is on his side.
If and ands were pots and pans, there'd be no need of tinkers. I tell you, illegitimate, your art of war is no use because your soldiers are no good for real fighting. What use is armor against gunpowder? And if it were, do you think men fighting for men and for God will stop to bargain about ransoms as have your men live by doing? No, they will fight to win, and they will give up their lives out of their own hand to the hand of God, as I do before a battle. You may shake your head at me, Jack, and Bluebeard may twirl his billy goat's beard and cock his nose at me, but remember the day you refused to follow me to attack the English at Orleans. You locked the gates to keep me in, and it was the townsfolk and common people that opened the gate and showed me the way to fight in earnest.
Not content with being Pope Joan, you must be Caesar and Alexander as well.
Pride will have a fall, Joan.
Never mind whether it is pride. Is it true? Is it common sense?
It is true. Half of us are afraid of our handsome noses being broken. The other half are out paying off their mortgages. Dinois, let her have her way. She might not know everything, but fighting is not what it once was, and those who know the least of it often make the best of it.
I know all that. I do not fight in the old way. I know how much any move of mine will cost, and if the move is worth the cost, I make the move and pay the cost. But Joan never counts the cost at all. She goes ahead and trusts to God. She thinks she has God in her pocket. Up to this point, she has had the numbers on her side, and she has won. But I know Joan, and I know that one day she will go ahead with only 10 men to do the work of 1,000, and she shall be captured by the enemy, and the lucky man who makes the capture will receive 16,000 pounds from the Earl of Warwick.
16,000 pounds? Aye, laddie, they have offered that for me. There cannot be so much money in the world.
There is in England. Let me ask you, which of you will lift a finger to save her once she has been captured? The day she is dragged off her horse and put in a cell, and the bars and bolts do not fly open at the touch of St. Peter's angel? The day when they find out just how vulnerable she is, she will not be worth the life of a single soldier to us. And I will not risk that life, as much as I cherish her as a companion in arms.
I don't blame you, Jack. You're right. I'm not worth one soldier's life if God lets me be beaten. But France may think me worth my ransom after what God has done for her through me.
I tell you, I have no money. In this coronation, which is all your fault, has cost me the last farthing I can borrow.
The church is richer than you. I put my trust in the church.
Woman, they will drag you in the streets and burn you as a witch.
Oh, do not say that. I, a witch?
Peter Cauchon knows what he's doing. The University of Paris has burned a woman for saying what you've done is right and according to God.
But why? What sense is there in it? They would not burn a woman for speaking the truth.
They did.
But you know that she was speaking the truth. You would not let them burn me.
How could I prevent them?
You would speak in the name of the church. You are a holy prince of the church. I will go anywhere with your blessing to protect me.
I have no blessing for you while you're proud and disobedient.
Oh, why do you go on saying things like that? I'm not proud and disobedient. I'm a poor girl and so ignorant that I don't know A from B. How can I be proud? And how am I disobedient when I always obey my voices? For they come from God.
The voice of God comes through the church militant. The voices in your head come through your own willfulness.
It is not true.
You tell the archbishop in his cathedral that he lies, yet you say you're not proud and disobedient?
I never said you lied. It was you that as well as said my voices lied. When have they ever lied? And even if you will not believe them, even if they are only the echoes of my own common sense, are they not always right? And are not your earthly counsels always wrong?
It's a waste of time admonishing you.
It goes back to the same thing. She is right and everyone else is wrong.
Take this as your last warning. If you perish through setting your own private judgment above those of your spiritual directors, the church disowns you and leaves you to whatever fate your presumption may bring upon you. The illegitimate has said that if you persist in setting up your military conceit above your commanders...
To put quite exactly, if you attempt to relieve the garrison at Compiègne without the same superiority in numbers you had at Orleans...
The army disowns you, and the king himself said he will not ransom you.
Not a penny.
You stand alone. Absolutely alone. When you go out there into the sunlight, the people will cheer you, and they will bring you their little children and their invalids to heal. They will madden you with the self-confidence that will lead you to your own destruction. We, and only we, can stop you going from that same path of that wretched woman in Paris.
I have better friends and better counsel than any of yours.
I see that I'm speaking to a hardened heart. Well,
that is the truth, Joan. Heed it.
Do not think you can frighten me by telling me I'm alone. France is alone, and God is alone. And what is my loneliness before the loneliness of my country and my God? I see now that the loneliness of God is his strength. Where would he be if he listened to your jealous little counsels? Well, the loneliness should be my strength too. It is better to be alone with God. His friendship will not fail me, nor his counsel, nor his love. If he wills that I go through the fire, I should go through it to the people's hearts forever and ever. And so, God be with me.
As God is my judge, if she fell into the river, I would jump in full armor and fish her out. But if she plays the fool at Compiègne, I must leave her to her doom.
You know, the woman is quite impossible. I don't dislike her really, but what are you to do with such a character?
I could chain me up because I could follow her through hell when spirits rises in her like that.
She disturbs my judgment too, but the pit is open at her feet, and for good or for evil, we cannot turn her from it.
If only she'd keep quiet. Go home.
Whoa.
I suppose your lordship is aware that we have no business here. This is an ecclesiastical court, and we are only the secular arm.
I am aware of that fact. Will it please your impudence to find the Bishop of Beauvais for us, and give him a hint that he may have a word with me before the trial, if he wishes?
Yes, my lord.
And mind you, behave yourself. Do not address him as Pious Peter.
No, my lord, I shall be kind to him, because when the maid is brought in, Pious Peter will have to pick a peck of pickled pepper. The Right Reverend, His Lordship, the Bishop of Beauvais, and 2 other reverend gentlemen.
Get out, and see that we are not interrupted.
I wish your lordship good morrow.
Good morrow to your lordship. Have I had the pleasure of meeting your friends before? I think not.
This is Brother John de la Merte. He is acting as deputy to the chief inquisitor into the evil of heresy within France. Brother John, the Earl of Warwick.
Your reverence is most welcome. We have no inquisitor in England, unfortunately, though we do miss him greatly, especially on occasions such as the present.
This is Brother John de Estevet. He is acting as promoter.
Promoter?
Prosecutor, you would call him in civil law.
Ah, prosecutor. I am pleased to make your acquaintance, Canon de Estevet. May I ask, what stage have the proceedings reached? It has now been more than 9 months since the maid was captured. May I suggest that you are taking a rather unconscionable time to make up your minds about a very plain case. Is this trial never going to end?
It has not yet begun, my lord.
Not yet begun? Why, you have been at it 11 weeks!
We have not been idle, my lord. We have had 15 examinations of the maid, 6 public and 9 private.
You see, my lord, I have only been present at 2 of these examinations, and have only just decided to associate myself. That is, to associate the Holy Inquisition with the bishop's court. At first, I did not think it was a case of heresy at all. But now, after being present at a few of these examinations, I can see that it is one of the most gravest cases of heresy in all of my experience. Therefore, everything is in order, and we will proceed in the morning.
This very moment, if your lordship's convenience allows.
Well, that is good news, gentlemen. I will not attempt to conceal from you that our patience was becoming strained.
So I gathered from the threats of your soldiers to drown any of our people who favor the maid.
Dear me, at all events, their intentions were friendly to you,
I
my
hope
lord.
not. I am determined that this woman shall have a fair hearing. The justice of the church is not a mockery.
Never has there been a more fairer hearing in my experience, my lord. The maid needs no lawyers to take her part. She will be tried by all of her most faithful friends, all ardently desirous to save her soul from perdition.
Sir, I am the promoter. It's been my painful duty to present the case against the girl. But believe me when I tell you, I'd throw away my case and hasten her defense if I had not known that men far superior in learning and piety and eloquence and persuasiveness have tried to reason with her, to tell her the dangers she's running and the ease with which she may avoid it. Men have dared say we act from hate. With God as our witness, they lie. Have we acted from hate? No. Have we ceased to exhort her, to implore her to have pity on herself, to come from the bosom of the church as an erring but beloved child? Have we...
Take care, Canon. I will not answer for your life if you convince your lordship, and hardly for my own.
Oh, my lord bishop, you are very hard on us poor English, but we certainly do not share your pious desire to save the maid. In fact, I tell you now, her death is a political necessity which I regret but cannot help if the church lets her go.
If the church lets her go, woe to the man were he the emperor himself who lay a finger on her. The church is not subject to your political necessity, my lord.
You need have no anxiety about the result, my lord. You have an invincible ally in the matter, one who is far more determined that she will burn than you are.
Oh, and who is this very convenient partisan, may I ask?
Why, the maid herself. Unless you put a gag in her mouth, you cannot stop her from convicting herself 10 times over every time she opens it.
Precisely, my lord. My hair bristles on my head when I hear so young a creature utter such blasphemies.
Well, yes. Do your best for her if you are sure it will be of no avail. I should be sorry to have to act without the blessing of the church.
What scoundrels these English nobles are!
All holy work makes men scoundrels. They are not cut out for it. They have not the apostolic succession needed. Our own nobles are just as bad.
Good morning, Master de Stogenberg, chaplain to the Cardinal of England.
Of Winchester, my lord. I have to make a protest, my lord.
You make a great many.
I'm not without support, my lord. Here is Master de Courcelles, canon of Paris, who associates himself with me in my protest.
Well, what is it?
Speak you, Master de Courcelles, since I do not seem to enjoy his lordship's confidence.
My lord, we have been at great pains to drop the indictment on the maid on 64 counts. We have not been told it has been reduced without consulting us.
I am the culprit. I am overwhelmed by the zeal in your 64 counts. But, as this is a case of heresy, like all other cases of heresy, enough is enough. Therefore, I will see to have your 64 counts cut down to 12.
12?
12 will, believe me, be quite enough for your purpose.
But some of the most important points have been reduced to almost nothing. For instance, the maid has actually declared that the blessed saints Margaret and Catherine and the holy archangel Michael spoke to her in French. That is a vital point.
Would you have rather them spoken to her in Latin?
No. He thinks they should have spoken in English.
Naturally, my lord.
Well, as we're all agreed here, I think it is safe to say that the voices of the maid are the voices of evil spirits tempting her to damnation. And, Master de Stogumber, I think it wise for you not to assume that English is the devil's native language. Therefore, everything is in order, and we will proceed, gentlemen.
Well, I protest. That is all.
I think it hard that all our work should go for nothing. It is just another example of the diabolical influence this woman exercises over the court.
Do you suggest that I'm under diabolical influence?
I suggest nothing, my lord, but it seems to me that there's a conspiracy here to hush up the fact that the maid stole the Bishop of Senlis's horse.
This is not a police court. Are we to waste our time with such rubbish?
My lord, do you call the bishop's horse rubbish?
The maid alleges she paid handsomely for the horse, and that if the money was not paid back to her, the fault was not hers. As that may be true, I think it is a point on which she may very well be acquitted.
Yes, if it were an ordinary horse. But the bishop's horse? How can she be acquitted for that?
Master de Courcelles, I submit to you that if we persist on trying this woman on these trumpery matters, that she may escape on her one true crime here, heresy. I am no ordinary magistrate. I am an inquisitor of the Holy Office that specializes in cases of heresy. So therefore, leave all other matters out and stick to the heresy.
I may add that we have sent to the girl's village, and there's practically nothing serious against her.
Nothing serious, my lord.
What the fairy tree not?
Be silent, gentlemen, or speak one at a time.
That's what the maid said to us last Friday.
Perhaps you should have taken her counsel. When I say nothing serious, I mean nothing that a man with significantly large mind to make such an inquiry would consider serious. I stand with my colleague, the inquisitor, on this one. We shall focus on the account of heresy, and that is how we shall proceed.
But is there any great harm in this girl's heresy? Is it not merely her simplicity? Many saints have said as much as Joan.
Brother Martin, if you had known what I had known of heresy, then you would know not to take this for a like task at all. You will see before you today a young and pious woman that exemplifies what it means to be a true heretic. Remember, gentlemen, anger is a bad counselor. Cast out anger. Pity can be even worse. Cast out pity. But do not cast out mercy. That is all I have to say, gentlemen. Has your lordship anything to add?
This I will add. We are confronted today, throughout Europe, with a heresy that is spreading among men. It is the private judgment of the erring mortal against the considerable wisdom and experience of the church. The structure of Catholic Christendom will be betrayed from within and left in ruin if this arch heresy, which the English commander calls Protestantism, is not taken care of. And that reminds me, what does the Earl of Warwick provide for a defense for the secular arm, say the girl is proved obdurate and the people pity her?
Have no fear on that score, my lord. The noble earl has 800 men at arms at the gates. She will not slip through our English fingers, even if the whole city be on her side.
God grant she repents and purge her sin?
That does not seem to me to be consistent, but of course I agree with your lordship.
Court sits.
Let the accused be brought in.
The accused, let her be brought in.
Sit down, Joan. You look very pale today. Are you not well?
Thank you kindly, I am well enough. But the bishop sent me some carp and it made me ill.
I am sorry, I meant for them to send it to you fresh.
You meant to be kind to me, I know. It is the fish that does not agree with me. The English thought you were trying to poison me.
No, my lord.
They were determined that I should be burnt as a witch, and they sent their doctor to cure me. But he was forbidden to bleed me, because the silly people believe that a witch's witchery leaves her if she has blood. So he only called me filthy names. Why must it be in the hands of the English? I should be in the hands of the church. And why must I be chained to the feet by a log of wood? Are you afraid I will fly away?
Woman, it is not for you to question the court. It is for us to question you.
When you were left unchained, did you not try to escape by jumping from a tower 60 feet high? If you cannot fly like a witch, how is it that you are still alive?
I suppose because the tower is not so high then. It has grown higher every day since you began asking me questions about it.
Why did you jump from the tower?
How do you know that I jumped?
You were found lying in the moat below. Why did you leave?
Why would anybody escape a prison if they could get out?
You tried to escape?
Of course, and not for the first time either. If you leave the door of the cage open, the bird will fly out.
That is a confession of heresy. I call attention of the court to it.
Heresy, he calls it. Am I a heretic for trying to escape from prison?
Assuredly, if you're in the hands of the church and you willfully take yourself out of its hands, you're deserting the church, and that is heresy.
It is great nonsense.
You see, my lord, I am reviled in the execution of my duty by this woman.
I have warned you before, Joan. You are not helping your case with such pert answers.
But you will not talk sense to me. I'm reasonable if you will be reasonable.
You forget. We cannot proceed until she has sworn on the Gospels to tell the whole truth.
You say this to me every time. I will tell you everything that concerns this trial, but I cannot tell you the whole truth, for God does not allow the whole truth to be told. I have sworn as much as I will swear, and I will swear no more.
My lord, she should be put to the torture.
You hear, Joan? That is what happens to the obdurate. Think before you answer. Has she been shown the instruments?
They are ready, my lord. She has seen them.
If you tear me limb from limb until you separate my soul from my body, you will get nothing out of me beyond what I have told you. What more is there that I could tell you that you would understand? Besides, I cannot bear to be hurt, and if you hurt me, I will tell you anything to stop the pain, but I will take it all back afterwards. So what is the use of it?
There is much in that. We should proceed mercifully.
But the torture is customary.
It must not be applied wantonly. If she agrees to tell the whole truth, then I can see no use for it.
But this is unusual and irregular. She refuses to take the oath.
Do you want to torture the girl for the mere pleasure of it?
But this is not a pleasure. It is law. It is customary. It is always done.
It is not always done. It is only always done in cases where the magistrates do not know their whole law.
The woman is a heretic. I assure you, it is always done.
It will not be done today if it is not necessary. I will not have it said that we proceeded off of forced confessions.
Your lordship is merciful, of course, but it is a great responsibility to depart from the usual practice, is it not?
Thou rare noodle master. Do it was done last time as I rule, eh?
Thou wanton, dost thou dare call me noodle?
Patience, master, patience. I feel you will shortly be avenged. Meanwhile, let us not be moved by the shepherd's lass's tongue.
Nay, I'm no shepherd lass, though I've helped with the sheep like anyone else. I will do a lady's work in the house, spin or weave against any woman in Rowan.
This is no time for vanity, Joan. You stand in great peril.
I know it. Have I not been punished for my vanity? Had I not worn my cloth of gold surcoat into battle like a fool, that Burgundian soldier would not have pulled me backwards off my horse, and I should not have been here.
You are so clever at women's work. Why do you not stay at home and do it?
There are plenty of other women to do it, but there's nobody to do my work.
Joan, I'm going to put a most solemn question to you. Be careful how you answer. Will you, after all you have said and you have done, submit yourself to the church and to the church militant?
I'm a faithful child of the church. I will obey the church.
You will?
Commanded. It does not provide anything impossible.
She imputes the church the errant folly of commanding the impossible.
If you command me to declare that all I have done and said, and all the visions and revelations I have had have not been from God, then that is impossible. I will declare it for nothing in the world. And if the church bid me to anything contrary to the will I have from God, I will not consent to it, no matter what it may be.
Do you need anything more than this?
Woman, you have said enough to burn 10 heretics.
If the church militant were to tell you that the voices you are hearing are the voices of evil spirits tempting you to damnation, would you not think that you are wiser than the church?
I believe that God is wiser than I, and it is his commands that I will do. All the things you called my crimes have come to me by the command of God, and I tell you that I have done them by the order of God. It is impossible for me to say anything else. And if any churchman bid me do the contrary, I shall not mind him. I shall mind God alone, whose command I always follow.
You do not know what you're saying, child. Do you want to kill yourself? Listen, do you not believe that you are subject to the church of God on earth?
Yes, when have I ever denied it?
Good. That means, does it not, that you are subject to our Lord the Pope, to the cardinals, to the archbishops, and to the bishops for whom his lordship stands here today.
God must be served first.
Then do your voices command you not to submit to the church militant?
My voices don't tell me to disobey the church, but God must be served first.
And you, not the church, are to be the judge.
What other judgment can I judge by but my own?
Out of your own mouth you condemned yourself.
Gentlemen, we are the maid's best advocates in this matter. Master Promoter, do you press these trumpery matters?
I am bound by my office to press everything. But when the woman confesses a heresy that brings upon her the doom of excommunication, of what consequence has she been found guilty, also of which reveal her to minor penances? I share his lordship's great impatience as to these minor charges, but I must greatly emphasize two blasphemous crimes of which she does not deny. First, she has intercourse with evil spirits and is therefore a sorceress. Second, she wears men's clothes, which is indecent, unnatural, and abominable. And in spite of our most earnest remonstrances and entreaties, she will not change even to receive the sacrament.
Is St. Catherine an evil spirit? Is St. Margaret? Is Michael the archangel?
How do you know which spirit that appears to you as an archangel? Does he not appear to you as a naked man?
Do you think God cannot afford clothes for him?
Well answered, Joan.
It is in effect well answered. But these voices and devilish spirits would not have shown themselves to a girl like this. Joan, do you accept the instruction of the church?
I accept the messenger of God. How can any faithful believer in the church refuse him?
Wretched woman, again I ask you, do you know what you are saying?
You wrestle in vain with the devil for your soul. Will you not dress as becomes your sex?
I will not.
The sin of disobedience, my lord.
But my voices tell me I must dress as a soldier.
Joan, does this not prove to you that your voices are the voices of evil spirits? Can you suggest to us one good reason an angel of God would give you such shameless advice?
Why, yes. What could be plainer common sense? I was a soldier living among soldiers. I am a prisoner guarded by soldiers. If I were to dress as a woman, they would think of me as a woman, and then what would become of me? If I dress as a soldier, they'll think of me as a soldier, and I can live with them as I do my brothers. That is why St. Catherine tells me I must not dress as a woman until she gives me leave.
When will she give you leave?
When you take me out of the hands of the English. I told you I must be in the hands of the church and not left night and day with 4 soldiers of the Earl of Warwick. Do you want me to dress with them and live with them in petticoats?
My lord, what she says is, God knows, horribly wrong and shocking, but there is a grain of worldly sense to it, such as might impose on a simple village maiden.
If we were as simple in the village as you are in your courts and palaces, there would soon be no wheat to make bread for you.
That is the thanks you get for trying to save her.
Joan, we are trying to save you. His lordship is trying to save you. The Inquisitor could not be more just to you if you were his own daughter, but you are blinded by a terrible pride and self-sufficiency.
Why do you say that? I've said nothing wrong. I cannot understand.
Those who do not understand are damned. It is not enough to be simple. It is not enough to be what simple people call good. The darkened mind is like the mind of a beast.
I tell you, there is great wisdom in the simplicity of a beast, let me tell you, and sometimes great foolishness in the wisdom of scholars.
We know this, Joan. We are not so foolish as you think us. Please try to resist the temptation to make pert replies to us. Do you see that man who stands behind you?
Your torturer? But the bishop said I was not to be tortured.
You will not be tortured because you have confessed everything that is necessary to your condemnation. That man is not only the torturer, he is also the executioner. Executioner, let the maid hear your answer to my question. Are you prepared for the burning of the heretic this day?
Yes, master.
Is the stake ready?
Yes, it is. It is in the marketplace. The English have set it too high for me to get near to make her death easier. It will be a cruel death.
But you are not going to burn me now.
You realize it at last.
There are 800 English soldiers waiting in the marketplace to take you to the marketplace the moment the sentence of excommunication has passed the lips of your judges. You are within a few short moments of this doom.
Oh, God.
Joan, do not despair. The church is merciful. You can save yourself.
What must I do?
You must submit yourself. And you must sign a solemn recantation of heresy.
Sign? That means to write my name. I cannot write.
You've signed many letters before.
Yes, but someone held my hand and guided the pen. I can make my mark.
My lord, do you mean that you're going to allow this woman to escape us?
The law must take its course, Master de Stogumber, and you know the law.
I know that there's no faith in the Frenchman. What? I know what my lord, the Cardinal of Winchester, will say when he hears of this. I know what the Earl of Warwick will do when he learns that you all intend to betray him. There are 800 men at the gate who will see that this abominable witch is burnt and spite your teeth.
Gentlemen, pray silence. Master Chaplain, I instruct you to sit down.
I will not sit.
Then you must stand. That is all.
I will not stand.
Here's the form of recantation for the maid to sign.
Read it to her.
Do not trouble. I will sign it.
Woman, you must know what you are putting into your hand. Brother Martin, read it for her, and let all be silent.
I, Joan, commonly called the maid, a miserable sinner, do confess that I have most grievously sinned in the following articles. I have pretended to have revelations from God and the angels and the blessed saints, and perversely rejected the church's warnings that these were the temptations by demons. I have blasphemed abominably by wearing an immodest dress contrary to the Holy Scripture and the canons of the church. Also, I have clipped my hair in the style of a man, and against all the duties which have kept my sex specially acceptable in heaven, have taken up the sword, even to the shedding of human blood, inciting men to slay each other, invoking evil spirits to delude them, and stubbornly and most blasphemously imputing these sins to Almighty God. I confess the sin of sedition, to the sin of idolatry, to the sin of disobedience, to the sin of pride, and to the sin of heresy. All of which sins I now renounce and abjure and depart from, humbly thanking you, doctors and masters, who have brought me back to the truth and into the grace of our Lord. And I will never return to my errors, but will remain in communion with our holy church and in obedience with our Holy Father, the Pope of Rome. All this I swear to God Almighty and to the Holy Gospel, and witness whereto I sign my name to this recantation.
You understand this, Joan?
It is plain enough, sir.
And is it true?
It may be true. If it were not true, there would not be a fire waiting for me out in the marketplace.
Come, child, let me guide your hand. Take the pen. J-E-H-A-N-E. Now, make the mark for yourself.
There.
God be praised. He saved you in the 11th hour.
Amen.
We declare thee by this act set free from the danger of excommunication in which thou stoodest.
I thank you.
But Because thou hast sinned so most presumptuously against God and the holy church, we do condemn thee to eat the bread of sorrow and to drink the water of affliction, to end thy earthly days in perpetual imprisonment.
Perpetual imprisonment? Am I not then to be set free?
Set free, child? After such wickedness as yours? What are you dreaming of?
Give me that paper. Light your fire. Do you think I dreaded as much as the life of a rat in a hole? My voices were right.
Joan!
Yes, they told me we're fools. You promised me my life, but you lied. You think that life is nothing but not being stone dead. It is not the bread and water that I fear. I can live on bread. It is no hardship to drink water. But to shut me from the light of the sky, to chain my feet, to make me breathe foul, damp darkness, all this is worse than the furnace that was heated 7 times. I could do without my war horse. I could drag about in a skirt. I could make the knights and soldiers leave me behind. But to not be able to hear the wind in the trees and the blessed church bells that send my angel voices floating in the wind, I could not live. And by you wanting to take this away from me, I know that your counsel is of the devil and that mine is of God.
I call for excommunication. She does not deserve the mercy we have shown her.
Light your fire, man. To the stake with her.
You wicked girl, if your counsel was of God, would he not deliver you?
Not yet.
His ways are not your ways.
We decree that thou art a relapsed heretic,
Cast out from the unity of the church,
sundered from her body,
infected with the leprosy of heresy,
a member of Satan,
admonishing the same secular power that had moderated its judgment of thee in respect of death and division of limbs.
We declare that thou must be excommunicate, and if any true sign of penance appear in thee, to permit our brother Martin to administer to thee the sacrament of penance.
Into the fire with the witch!
Burn her! Burn her!
No. No, this is irregular.
That man is an incorrigible fool.
Brother Martin, see to it that everything is done in order.
My place is by her side, my lord. You must exercise your own authority.
These English are impossible. They'll thrust her straight into the fire.
Yes, but not too fast, my lord.
But we have not a moment to lose.
We have proceeded in perfect order. If the English decide that she is in the wrong, it is not our duty to put her in the right. The sooner it is over, the better for the young girl.
That is true. I guess we must see through this dreadful thing to the end.
One gets used to it. But it is still a sad thing to see such an innocent and young girl crushed between the two powers, the church and the law.
You call her innocent?
Oh, quite innocent. She had no idea of what we were speaking about today. But we must see the end.
Oh, I'm intruding. I thought it was all over.
Do not go. It is over.
Yes, but it is customary that we must see the end. If you'll excuse me.
I believe that your soldiers do not understand the order of the law.
My dear bishop, I am told whether there is some authority, that whether your authority runs in the city, my lord. It is not in your diocese. However, if you will answer for that, then I shall swear for the rest.
Nevertheless, good morning.
Good morning. Hello? Some attendants here. Brian, where are you? Guard. Guard! They've all gone to see the burning. What in the devil's name? What is the matter, Master Jean? What is going on?
My lord, for Christ's sake, pray for my wretched, guilty soul.
Yes, of course. Now calmly, gently.
I am not a bad man, my lord.
No, not at all.
I did not know what I was doing. I meant no harm.
Yes, of course, but calmly.
I did not know what it would be like. I'm a hot-headed fool, and I shall be damned for all eternity for it.
Oh, you saw it then?
Yes, I did. And it was dreadful, almost dreadful.
Nonsense. Very distressing, no doubt, but it was not your doing.
I let them do it. You do not know, but when you see the thing you have done, when it is blinding your eyes, stifling your nostrils, tearing your heart, then...
Come, man, you must control yourself. If you have not the nerve for these things, then why do you not do as I do and just stay away?
She asked for a cross. A soldier gave her 2 sticks tied together. Thank God he was an Englishman. I would have done it, but I did not.
The fool. They will burn him too if the priests get hold of him.
Some of the people laughed at her. They would have laughed at Christ. They were French people, my lord. I know they were French.
Hush now. Someone is coming. Control yourself. I am informed it is all over, Brother Martin.
We do not know, my lord. It may have only just begun.
What does that mean exactly?
I took this cross from the church for her, so that she might see it in her last. She had only 2 sticks that she put into her bosom. When the fire crept around us, and she saw that if I held the cross before her, I should be burned myself, she warned me to get back and save myself. My lord, a girl who could worry about another's danger in such a moment could not be inspired by the devil. When I had to snatch this cross from her sight, she looked up to heaven. I do not believe the heavens were empty. I firmly believe that her Savior appeared to her in her tenderest glory. She called to him and died. This is not the end for her, but the beginning.
I am afraid this will have a bad effect on people.
It had, my lord, on some of them. I heard laughter. Forgive me for saying, but I hope and believe it was English laughter.
No, it was not. There was only one Englishman there that disgraced this country, and that was the mad dog de Stogumber. Let them torture him. Let them burn him. I will go pray among her ashes. I'm no better than Judas. I will hang myself.
Quick, Brother Martin, follow him. He will do himself some mischief. After him now. Quick! Well, fellow, who are you?
I'm not just this fellow, my lord. I'm the master executioner of Rowan. It is a highly skilled mystery. I have come to tell you that your lordship orders have been obeyed.
I crave your pardon, Master Executioner. I have your word that nothing of her remains. Not a nail, not a bone, not a hair.
Her heart will not burn, but everything that was left of her is the bottom of the river. You heard the last of her.
The last of her. I do wonder.
Who are you? Where is the gentleman on my bedchamber? What do you want?
I bring glad tidings of great joy. Rejoice, O king. The taint has been removed from your crown and the stain from your blood. Justice, long delayed, is at last triumphant.
What are you talking about? Who are you?
I am Brother Martin.
And who, saving your reverence, may Brother Martin be?
I held this cross for the maid when she perished in the fire. 25 years have passed since then, nearly 10,000 days, and on every single one of those days, I have prayed to God to justify his daughter on earth as she is justified in heaven.
Oh, I remember. You had your bee in the bonnet about the maid. Have you been at the inquiry?
I have given my testimony.
Is it over?
It is over.
Satisfactorily?
The ways of God are very strange.
How so?
At the trial, which sent a saint to the stake as a heretic and a sorceress, the truth was told. The law was upheld. Mercy was shown beyond all custom. No wrong was done but the final and dreadful wrong of the lying sentence and the pitiless fire. At this inquiry, from which I have just come, there was shameless perjury, courtly corruption, calumny of the dead who have done their duty according to their lights, cowardly evasion of the issue, and testimony of idle tales that could not impose on a plowboy. Yet out of this insult to justice, this defamation of the church, this orgy of lying and foolishness, the truth is set on the noonday hill in the sun. The white robes of innocence is cleansed from the smirch of the burning faggots. The holy life is sanctified. The great lie is silenced forever, and a great wrong set right before all men.
My friend, provided they can no longer say I was crowned by a witch and a heretic. Is her rehabilitation complete?
I solemnly declare that her judges were full of corruption, cozenage, fraud, and malice. 4 falsehoods.
Never mind her falsehoods. Her judges are dead.
The sentence on her has been broken, annulled, annihilated, set aside as non-existent, without effect or value.
Good. They cannot challenge my coronation, can they?
Not Charlemagne nor King David himself were more sacredly crowned.
Excellent. Think of what that means to me.
I think of what that means to her.
No, you cannot. No one ever knew what anything meant to her. So, let her rest in peace and let you and I mind our own business.
God forbid I should have no share in her, nor she in me. Henceforth my path shall not lie through palaces, nor my conversation be with kings.
Much good do it do to you, holy man. That was a funny chap. How did he get in?
Who are you? What do you want? Help! Murder! Easy, Charlie, easy. No one can hear thee. Thou'rt asleep.
Joan?
Are you a ghost, Joan? Hardly even that, lad. Can a poor burnt-up lass have a ghost? I'm but a dream that thou'rt dreaming. That looks older, lad.
I am older. Am I really asleep?
Fallen asleep over thy silly book.
That's funny.
Not so funny as that I am dead, is it?
Are you really dead?
As dead as anybody ever is, laddie. I am out of the body.
Just fancy. Did it hurt much?
Did what hurt?
Being burnt.
Oh, that. I cannot remember very well. I think it did, but then it all got mixed up and I was not in my right mind until I was out of the body. But do not thou go handling fire and thinking it will not hurt thee. How are thee, Charlie?
I'm good. Do you know that I lead my own battles? And just like you.
No! Did I make a man of thee after all, Charlie?
I'm Charles the Victorious now. I had to be brave because you were. And Agnes put a little bit pluck into me.
Agnes? Who was Agnes?
Agnes Sorrel, a woman I fell in love with. I dream of her often. I've never dreamt of you before.
Is she dead like me?
Yes, but she's not like you. She was beautiful.
I was no beauty. I was always a rough one, a regular soldier. But tell me, what has happened to you wise men ever since you knew no better than to make a heap of cinders of me?
Your mother and brother have sued the courts and tried to get the case tried over again. And the courts have declared that your judges were full of corruption.
Not they. They were as honest a lot of poor fools as ever burned their betters.
The sentence on you is broken.
I was burned all the same. Can they unburn me?
No, but I think they would think twice before they did it. And did you know that they placed a cross where you were burned at the stake for your memory and your salvation?
It is the memory and the salvation that sanctify the cross, not the cross that sanctifies the memory and the salvation. I shall outlast the cross. I shall be remembered when men will have forgotten where Rowan stood.
There you go, Joan, with your self-conceit. I think you should say thank you to me for having justice had been done.
Liar!
Thank you.
Why, if it isn't Peter Cochin? How are you, Peter? What luck have you had ever since you burned me?
None. I arraign the justice... I arraign the justice of man. It is not the justice of God.
Still dreaming of justice, Peter? See what justice came to with me? But how are thee? Art dead or alive?
Dead. Dishonored. They excommunicated my body.
Your dead body did not feel the spade in the sewer as my live body felt the fire.
But this thing they have done to me, it hurts justice.
Well, well, Peter, I hope men will be the better for remembering me, and they would not remember me so well if you had not burned me.
But what they'll be remembering me for is much worse than what they remember you for. They'll be remembering me as evil triumphing over good. But God is my witness, and I was fair, I was justful, and I was merciful.
Yes, it is always you, good men with your big mischiefs. Look at me. I'm not Charles the Wise, nor Charles the Bold, nor Charles the Good, but I've done less harm than any of you. And I ask you, what King of France has done better?
Art really King of France, Charlie? Be the English gone?
I have kept my word, the English are gone.
Praise be God! Now is fair France a province in heaven. Tell me about the fighting, Jack. Was it thou that led them? Wert thou God's captain to thy death?
I am not dead. My body is very comfortably asleep in my bed at Chateaudun, but my spirit was called here by yours.
You fought them my way, Jack, eh?
Faith, it was any way that would win, but the way that won was always your way. Perhaps I should not have let them burn you, but it was the church's business, not mine.
I blame it on the priest, but let me remind you that the world isn't saved by priests or soldiers, but by God and his saints.
Drum dum dum ba dum dum ba dum ba dum ba dum drum dum dum ba dum dum ba dum ba dum ba dum drum dum dum ba dum dum ba dum ba dum ba dum drum.
What villainous troubadour taught you that doggerel?
No troubadour, we made it up ourselves as we march. We are not gentlefolks and troubadours. Music straight out of the heart of the people. Rum dum dumple dum, bacon fat and rumple dum, old Saint Mumple dum, Poe's tail and stumple dum. That don't mean anything you know, but it does keep you marching. Your servant, ladies and gentlemen. Who asked for a saint?
Be you a saint?
Yes, lady, straight from hell.
A saint and from hell?
Yes, noble captain, I have a day off. Every year, you know, it is my allowance for my one good action.
Wretch, in your entire life, you've only done one good act.
Well, I never thought about it. It came naturally, but they scored me up for it.
What was it?
Why, the silliest thing ever heard, I.
He tied 2 sticks together and gave them to a poor lass who was going to be burned.
Right. Who told you that?
Never mind. Would you remember if you saw her again?
Not I. There are so many girls, and they all expect you to remember them as they're only one in the whole world. But this one must have been of a prime sort, for I have a day off for every year. And so, until 12 o'clock punctually, I am at your service, noble lords and lovely ladies.
And after 12?
After 12, I go back to the place fit for the likes of me.
Back there? You? That gave the lass the cross?
Well, she asked for it, and they were going to burn her. And she had as good a right to the cross as they did, and there was dozens of them. It was her funeral, not theirs. Where was the harm in it?
Man, I'm not reprimanding you, but I cannot bear to think of you in torment.
No great torment, lady. You see, I was used to much worse.
What? Worse than hell?
15 years in the French wars. Hell was a treat after that. Suits me somehow. The day off at first was still like a wet Sunday, but I got used to it. They said I give a day off whenever I asked for it.
What is hell like?
You won't find it so bad, sir. Jolly. Well, I guess if you were always drunk without the expense of drinking. Tip-top company, too, with popes and emperors and kings and such like. They always chip me up about giving the young lass the cross, but I don't care. I always say she had as good a right to cross as they did, perhaps better. Well, see, she's here now.
Come in.
Excuse me, gentle lords and ladies. John de Stilgumber at your service. You see, the point is, it is a small village with few simple people. I am well connected there, you see. They indulge in me.
Oh, poor old John. What has brought thee to this state?
I tell my folks they must be very careful. I say to them, if only you saw what you think about, you would think quite differently about it. And they all say, yes, parson, we know you are a kind man. It would not harm a fly. That is a great comfort to me, you know, for I am not cruel by nature.
Who said you were?
You see, I did a very cruel thing once because I did not know what cruelty was like. I had not seen it, you know, and that is the great thing. You must see it, and then you are redeemed and saved.
Were the sufferings of our Christ not enough for you?
No, not enough, not at all. I read them in books and seen them in pictures, but it was no use. It was not our great Lord that saved me, but a young woman who I actually saw burned to death. It was dreadful, almost dreadful, but it saved me, and I have been a different man ever since, though a little stray in my wits sometimes.
So Christ has to die every millennium to save wretches like you.
If I have saved all those, you would have been cruel too if you had not been cruel to me. I was not burnt for nothing, was I?
No, it was not you. My sight is bad. I cannot distinguish her features, but you are not she. She was burned to a cinder. Dead and gone, dead and gone.
She's more alive than you, old man. Her heart will not burn nor drown. And I was the master of my profession. Better than the master of Paris. Better than the master of Tall House. And I cannot kill the maid. She is up and alive everywhere.
Madam! Pardon me. My congratulations on your rehabilitation. You see, I must apologize amply.
Oh, please don't mention it.
Well, very kind of you to see it that way, but you see, I still insist on apologizing. You see, political necessities, they sometimes turn out to be political mistakes. Although history will remember me for your sake, though the circumstances surrounding the connection might be a little unfortunate.
Hi, perhaps just a little, you funny man.
Nonetheless, when they make you a saint, you will owe your halo to me.
I shall owe nothing to any man. I owe everything to the Spirit of God that was within me. But fancy me a saint. What would St. Catherine and St. Margaret say if the farm girl was cocked up beside them?
Madam, rather, sir, I congratulate you on having invented a most extraordinarily comic dress.
I do not understand. You are all in fancy dress. I am properly dressed.
All dress is fancy dress, is it not, except our natural skins?
Pardon me, but I am here on serious business and cannot engage in frivolous discussions.
I am sent to announce to you that Joan of Arc, formerly known as the Maid, having been the subject of an inquiry instituted by the Bishop of Orleans.
Oh, they remember me still in Orleans.
By the Bishop of Orleans into the claim of the said Joan of Arc to be canonized as a saint.
But I never made any such claim.
The Church has examined the claim exhaustively in the usual course, and having admitted the said Joan successively to the ranks of venerable and blessed.
Me? Venerable?
Has finally declared her to have been endowed with heroic virtues and endowed with private revelations, and calls the said venerable and blessed Joan to the communion of the Church triumphant as Saint Joan.
Saint Joan!
On every 30th of May, being the anniversary of the death of the said most blessed daughter of God, there shall in every Catholic church to the end of time be celebrated a special office in commemoration of her. And it shall be lawful to dedicate a special chapel to her, and to place her image on its altar in every such church. And it shall be lawful and laudable for the faithful to kneel and address their prayers through her to the mercy seat.
Oh no, it is for the saint to kneel.
In Basilica Vaticana, 16th of May, 1920.
My dear saint, only half an hour to burn you, and hundreds of years to find out the truth about you.
Sir, I was chaplain to the Cardinal of Winchester once. They would always call him the Cardinal of England. It would be a great comfort to me and my master to see a fair statue of the Maid in Winchester Cathedral. Will they put one there, do you think?
As the building is temporarily in the hands of the Anglican heresy, I cannot answer for that.
Look, that is Winchester.
Is that supposed to be me? I was stiffer on my feet.
I've been requested by the temporal authorities of France to mention that the multiplication of statues in honor of the Maid have been becoming an obstruction to traffic. But I must point out on behalf of the Church that the Maid's horse presents no greater obstruction to traffic than any other horse.
Hey, is that funny little thing me too?
That's Reims Cathedral, where you crowned me. It must be you.
Who has broken my sword? My sword was never broken. It is the sword of France.
Never mind that. Swords can be mended. But your soul is unbroken, and you are the soul of France.
My sword shall conquer yet, the sword that never struck a blow. Though men have conquered my body, my soul has seen God.
The girls of the field praise thee, for thou hast raised their eyes and shown them that there is nothing between them and heaven.
The dying soldiers praise thee, for thou art a shield of glory between them and judgment.
Princes of the church praise thee, for thou hast restored the faith in their worldliness dragged through the mire.
The cunning counselors praise thee, for thou hast cut the knot in which they have tied their own soul.
The foolish old men on their deathbeds praise thee, because their sins against thee are turned into blessings.
The judges in their bondage and blindness praise thee, for you have vindicated the vision of their soul.
The tormentors and executioners praise thee. Haste thou showing that we are guiltless of the death of the soul.
The unpretending praise thee, because thou hast taken upon thy burdens that are too heavy for us.
And the wicked out of hell praise thee, for you have shown that the fire that is not quenched is a holy fire.
Woe unto me when all men praise me. I bid thee remember I am a saint, and saints can do miracles. Now tell me, must I rise again and come back to a living woman? What? Must I burn again? Are none of you ready to receive me?
The heretic is always better dead. Mortal eyes cannot distinguish heretic from saint. Spare them.
My dear saint, we are not ready for you yet. Forgive me, I must go back to bed.
Madam, these political necessities, though sometimes erroneous, are still imperative, if you will be good enough to excuse me.
Your return will not make me the man you once thought of me. The utmost I can say is that I dare not bless you, but that I may one day enter your blessedness. Meanwhile, however,
I am of the dead, who that day declared you innocent. I cannot see how the church did not. Therefore,
No, do not come back. You must not come back. I must die in peace. Give us peace in our time. Oh, Lord.
The possibility of your resurrection was not contemplated in the recent proceedings for your canonization. I must turn to Rome for fresh instructions.
I was master in my profession. I must have time to consider this interest. And first of all, I have a wife and kids. I must think of them first.
Oh, poor old Joan. Everyone has run away from you, except this blackguard that has to leave at 12. But I must follow Jack Dunois' example and go back to bed.
Good night, Charlie.
Good night, Joan.
And you, my one faithful, what comfort have you for St. Joan?
What do they all amount to? These kings and captains and bishops and warriors? They leave you in the ditch to bleed to death, and the next thing is, you see them down there, for all the airs they give themselves. What I say is, you had as good a right to your notions as they had theirs. It's like this. A pressing appointment. Excuse me.
Oh God that made us this beautiful earth, when will it be ready to receive thy saints? How long, O Lord? How long?
Didn't they do a great job? Wasn't that wonderful? Give them another big hand. They worked tirelessly for the past several weeks. Did a great job. Thank you all for your efforts, and the cast, of course, and the crew back there, the lighting, those in the back, the crew that did the makeup and the setting up the stage. They all did a great job. And I want to bring the director up here, Mr. Kim Shibley. Come on up here, Mr. Kim Shibley. He also worked tirelessly putting the show together, did a great job. And Mr. Anu also assisting Mr. Kim Shibley. Where is he? He's here somewhere. Oh, right over here. Give him a big hand. Great job. And wow, just outstanding. Amen. So let's pray. Father, thank you for a great night here in the chapel. Thank you for all of our students. What a great performance. What a great message. And Lord, we thank you for all the hard work that's paid off here tonight. And once again tomorrow, the matinee coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. We just thank you, Lord, for all the hard work, all the effort. It's all paid off here tonight. And thank you for a wonderful performance from these students and their teachers and everyone involved in this production. We give you the glory and the honor, and we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Thank you all for coming. Have a great night.